What's a common rule that you break regularly because you fundamentally disagree with it? Story 1. The assistant manager always wants you to serve old fries at the end of the night. No. Once they go to the back office the last hour of their shift to count money and do computer things, I'm going to let you know it's late and has been slow. But just for you, I'm cooking your fries fresh. It will be about 3 more minutes. I don't serve old, cold food. I get that you break down the fry station because it has to be cleaned, but placing a tray of fries on the sandwich warmer isn't going to maintain taste and flavor. The fryer still works. On my shift, you can trust I will get you fresh fries at 11:45 p.m. Write me up, idgaff. Ain't nobody got time for cold fries. Story 2. Pirating something you've paid for previously. I didn't just buy the CD or DVD, I bought the right to install and view or use that material. Owning a physical copy of an intellectual property, music, video game, film, implies a perpetual right to viewership and use. Paying wildly overpriced medical bills. For a decade now, I've just refused to pay. Let them go to collections and dispute them for ages until they finally give up. At worst, I make the collection agency waste money on the pursuit, then settle for pennies. Story 3. I think Netflix and other streaming services should have the same contents worldwide. We live in the age of internet. Borders don't matter. If I want to watch something that's not on my version of Netflix, I'll find it online at a pirate website. Most of the time, they don't even give me the option to watch it legally because it's just not on any service in my country. In that case, it's on them. They only have themselves to blame. FTR, this is a hill I'm willing to die on. ETA. I know this isn't Netflix's fault. It's the PPL that own the movies and series, etc. They won't get royalties when I watch it illegally, but if I can't watch it in a legal way, they only have themselves to blame. Story 4. I don't break the law, but I think it's ultimately idiotic and causes more accidents than it ever hoped to prevent. I drive a school bus, and in NY, we are mandated to stop at every railroad crossing whether it has gates and lights or not. It stems from an incident from 50 years ago where a driver ran a stop sign at a line that was hardly ever used. 50 years later, at least where I live, every crossing has gates and lights to prevent drivers from crossing, and I've never heard of one incident where someone was struck by a train because the gates didn't work. And today we have people who text while driving and are not looking where they are going. At least once a month our yard has an incident where a bus is rear-ended at a RXR crossing. People are hurt, and thousands of dollars in damage are incurred. If it is so important to stop at RXR crossings, why don't parents do so in their private cars? There, I got that off my chest. Story 5. People say don't spoil your kids. Fuck that. I break this rule constantly. They're great, hard workers, sweet, gracious and generous, good sharers. When they want something and I think they deserve it and it isn't some dumb toy or tchotchke, I will do it for them. Can be as simple as dropping what I'm doing to play catch, buying them something when we are at the store, giving in to McDonald's ice cream requests before dinner, signing them out of school early to surf with me and getting them big gifts at Christmas, surfboard/halfpipe/two-person boogie board, etc. They are always so excited, and I love seeing them smile and kicking it with them and giving them a good childhood. I feel lucky. Story 6. Haven't had reason to do it yet. But if someone needed an abortion from a U.S. state where it's illegal, I would absolutely help her obtain one. Especially if she's been raped. Especially if she's escaping an abusive relationship. Especially if she's a teen. Not that those are the only reasons, of course. Story 7. Among my friend group, we all pay for one streaming service and then share our passwords. So among the group, we have access to like 12 or 13 streaming services for the price of one. It's such bullshit that I have to pay for 10 plus subs to watch whatever I want. Story 8. Going through the body scanner at the airport. You're allowed to opt out. Very few people do, but I always do. One of the agents asked me why I was doing it as he gave me the admittedly uncomfortable pat down. I said, because I worked at an airport and I know all of this is just theater BS and this is the only way I can object. And you know it's BS too. He agreed. Story 9. Teacher. If kids are hungry, I let them eat. They can eat as much as they want. Even if they show up late, they can eat. If it's in the middle of the day, they can eat while they work. Also, they can go to the bathroom. Maybe they have to wait 3 minutes until I'm done talking, but otherwise go. It helps I have a bathroom in my room which would solve many problems for middle schoolers. Story 10. Loyalty to a company. Piss me off after 3 months, I'll quit. 5 years, I'll quit. 18 months, I'll quit. My family doesn't give two shits whether I'm somewhere for 90 days or 9 years. They just care that dad loves them and is there for them. And I never, ever, ever want them to be cold, hungry, or in pain. And if I have to quit a job, because even for a second that's threatened, so be it. Story 11. I'm a teacher, so we're not supposed to wear jeans. I think this is the most outdated, nonsensical rule. We know now that building relationships with students is the most important thing, and I truly believe that you are distancing yourself from kids if you come to school in some whack-ass, professional office outfit. Who will a kid be more likely to bond with? Somebody who looks more like them? Also, I'm convinced that districts only keep this rule in place so that they can dangle a jeans day in front of our faces every so often to try to keep us complacent. It's insulting. I'm too afraid to break this rule completely because ultimately I do love my job. But every Friday when we have a jeans day, if you wear a school shirt, I just wear my jeans with whatever shirt I want. It's my tiny, minuscule, absolutely microscopic taste of rebellion. LOL. Story 12. Jaywalking. I was hit by a car in 2019 using a crosswalk. I've been cut off by cars and nearly hit using them because people making right turns only look for cars, not pedestrians. People run stop signs and red lights all the time. I cross when I know it's safe to cross. My accident in 2019 could have been avoided if I had crossed while the walk signal was red. It took me 5 months to be able to be near a road without triggering my PTSD. I don't drive, and even being in an Uber can be triggering. Cars make me anxious whether I'm in them or around them. It was several years before I could use a crosswalk without having a panic attack. If too many cars are driving erratically or skidding to a stop when I'm about to crow AA, it's not pretty. I feel safer and have had little to no issues crossing when it's safe, preferably away from an intersection. Story 13. The coffee at my work is $1 per cup back when we were in office. It was one of those K-cup machines. I've never worked at a place coffee wasn't free. Free coffee is something work should just provide. I never paid and used it a few times a day. HR sent out an email reminding people it's pay per use. I guess the piggy bank beside the machine has much less money than expected given the amount of cups they're going through. I know it's petty, but it's the principle of the thing. Story 14. This is more of a social rule standard rather than a law, but I refuse to censor my speech just because a child or an elderly person happens to be in my vicinity. They aren't going to explode if they hear a curse word. They aren't my child, and as such, are not my problem. If you as a parent want to censor your own speech around your children, that is fine. Expecting others to do the same is insane and entitled. I have zero qualms stealing from multi-billion-dollar corporations. Story 15, I got one. It's a simple one. A 4-way intersection near my home. 3 of the ways are dual lane, and 1 of the lanes is single one-way only. They just redid the intersections so that the way I normally go now has a turn lane. They also hung up a no-turn on right sign, which is very odd because there's never a physical time when taking a right threatening traffic. The road to the right is the one way, and it's one way leading away from the intersection, aka, when you are taking a road, will never have someone coming from your left. So you think, okay, what about so many turning left from the other direction? The issue with that is that there's no left turn lane on the other side, aka, whenever the light is green, and you can turn right is also when the other side can turn left. There's never any point when the light is red that anyone will ever be coming from left. TLDR, they hung up a sign for road safety for something that can't happen. Story 16. Everyone else seems to want to do 10/20ths over the speed limit on the regular. I do what the sign says, and if someone starts riding my bumper, I'll even let off the gas and do 5 under. I don't need another speeding ticket. I'm not risking another. And if you use public roads to satisfy your unfulfilled dreams of racing the Indy 500, you can continue to do so once you pass me. Story 17. I bring my own snacks into movie theaters. I lie and say that I have a medical issue so I can bring water into places that ban outside water for the purpose of making money off me. I will not do this if it's a medical or mechanical setting, for example. Safety first. I have no problem pirating content that is either not in circulation anymore or is being paywalled to hell by a greedy service. Amazon, that requires you to pay per episode despite having Prime, for example. If buying isn't owning, then piracy isn't stealing. If I see someone stealing formula, food, tampons, pads, or diapers, no, I didn't. Story 18. I don't know if it's an official rule, but I share my recorded videos and lectures I make for my college classes online for everyone to see. I think people should be able to learn and educate themselves without having to be enrolled in one of my classes. I've read conflicting information and am too chicken to ask the university I work for if it's okay. I don't use any publisher pre-made slides or copyrighted info at least, and cite any resources and the textbook I use. but I live in a little fear. Story 19. No phones in school. I'm not going to sit in the same desk for 6, 7 hours a day looking at the same screen and/or board. I only want to use it for music because the music my teacher plays has no good songs in it, or at least allow us to use it at lunch. They treat phones like a virus, and it pisses me off because they are just as addicted to technology as we are. Story 20. A lot of social rules, like when I go out with someone, I don't want to discuss who invites who or whatever. If you say you want to pay, fine, I won't argue with you. Otherwise, I'll pay for my own stuff. I hate that back and forth of, oh, no, I pay, no, I pay. I don't play around with people. If someone tells me no, I accept that and move on. No, why though, or, but it's so nice. When someone tries to do small talk with me and I don't feel like it, I tell them. I ask questions straightforward, and I will not back down until I got an answer I can work with. I don't want to talk about it is an answer I can work with BTW. I ask people if they want to do Christmas presents, and we set a financial limit if needed. I don't want to deal with unnecessary lies and cues and hints. Story 21. Returning shopping carts. I am a very courteous person and rule follower. Also, a mom of 2 young kids. The rogue cart in the parking lot saves my day sometimes, and my friends who have babies/little kids agree. I would never leave a cart in a dickhead spot blocking parking, but I will leave it in a parking lot where another desperate parent might appreciate it. Story 22. Hard work or grind culture. I find it very exploitative when companies reward behavior such as working excessive hours and doing more than the job description. I understand these are merits to a promotion, but I always think about the life after you clock out, how these things do not matter, how even if you get a gazillion promotions in a week, you will never truly be happy if your life revolves around working. There's so much more to see, and I'm not talking about going out or traveling. I'm talking about the peace you get talking to family, playing with pets, the satisfaction of a clean house. It's literally the small things that make you love life. And being rewarded for avoiding all this is just weird ethic for me. Story 23. More of a social norm, and I know it's divisive, but I cannot stand when people on planes with the aisle seat just sit there until the last possible second before standing and getting their stuff. You do what you want, but why are you blocking me? I know people like to say we aren't going anywhere, or that we have to wait anyway, but I like to be ready to move as soon as the line gets to me. Then I like to get to immigration, or just out of the airport and on my way as quick as possible. I know not everyone wants to move fast, but it's the refusal to move for someone else that gets me, so I just climb over them. Story 24. I worked at a restaurant as a server, and before I quit, food was taking forever, 30, 60 minutes, and the managers were cheap and did not want to comp the customers' food even though they deserve it for waiting that long for food. Could be the cook's fault, but I don't remember why. So I didn't charge drinks for the guests that had to wait so long, and a manager caught me and said, "Why am I not charging drinks?" I replied, "It's because I'll be pissed too if my burger took an hour." Story 25. Break duration at work when I'm in the office. I get 2 10-minute breaks I use to go outside and commune with nature and vape. Over the years, my desk has gravitated further and further away from the exit. 14 years ago, it would take about 20 seconds from desk to outdoors. Now it's about 3 minutes, depending on the lift/elevator. I take a tiny bit of that out of my time away from my desk, but the majority is taken from company time. I'll spend about 8 minutes outside, so nowadays I'm away from my desk for 15, not 10. I don't consider having to walk down a long corridor then go down 5 stories to be a break, though others may disagree. I spend about the same time outside that I did years ago. Haven't been called out for it, since I also go for fewer coffee bathroom runs than normal. Story 26. When I was in school, I would routinely ignore the uniform policy because it was bullshit. Girls were only allowed to wear the gym uniform on the days we had gym. The rest of the time, we had to wear a skirt. During winter, we were supposed to wear pantyhose if we didn't want to freeze. They were itchy, expensive, had uncomfortable seams at the ends, and would constantly get caught on everything and rip. So your parents would get annoyed that they had to buy more. I'd also have to adjust them all the time because they'd move out of place. My skirt was woolen too, so it was really hot in our humid subtropical summers. I don't see why girls couldn't have the option of a uniform with pants like the boys did, or just letting us wear the more comfortable uniform. It's not like women haven't been wearing pants for who knows how long now. The reason was probably because it would make the school look low class, but it's not like people on the street would know if we were heading to afternoon gym class or not. It's really that the non-gym uniform was prettier, but they knew a lot of us wouldn't wear it anymore if they let us. We were there to learn, but it felt like they wanted to use us as walking advertisements. Story 27, stopping at stop signs in the US. I'm from the UK, where stop signs are used exclusively for junctions/intersections with poor visibility to oncoming traffic due to crests of a hill, tight bends, or perhaps buildings. Here in the US, they're at pretty much every intersection that doesn't use traffic lights. Why on earth should I have to stop at an intersection when I can see half a mile down the road and see that it's safe to complete my crossing turn? If there's enough room to see that it's clear and free from any pesky police cars, I'm going. Story 28, I conceal. Carry my pistol at my local mall despite the no guns allowed signs. The sporting goods store in the mall sells guns, and unless they teleport you outside, you're going to be carrying in the mall if you purchase from them. So the whole only the entities making me money rule goes right out the fucking window. Anyone who catches me, highly unlikely, I'll just say I purchased it a few minutes ago and was just on my way to my car.